This week in the NBA was all about relationship drama. We had players and organizations realizing it's time for a breakup. We had other organizations realizing we never even should have gotten involved with certain player. And then to top things off for the week, we had NBA Fight Night. We gonna get into all of it. Let's talk about it. Reported this week that Zach LaVine and the Chicago Bulls organization have come to a mutual agreement that it's time for a breakup. Both sides have agreed that they are willing to start exploring trades. Any type of trade of this magnitude is probably going to get the ball rolling for a retooling or a rebuilding of the Chicago Bulls organization. So I wouldn't be shocked to start seeing DeMar DeRozan's name thrown out there, as well as Alex Caruso involved in trade talks. A few years ago when the Chicago Bulls actually put this group together, they looked really nice. The chemistry was there. They were at the top of the East at one point. That, of course, included Lonzo Ball. Maybe Lonzo was the glue guy to all of this because really since his injury, this team really hasn't been able to replicate that same chemistry they had in the beginning. They've had 2 years of trying to make it work, and really it's not going anywhere. I think Chicago's right in doing this, getting off these pieces, seeing the value they can get back, and building through the draft. Now, as far as the teams I think should trade for Zach LaVine and who should not, and the teams who should not trade for LaVine, I'm putting Philadelphia 76ers there. I'm just going to say, do not try and fix what is not broken. I do think at some point Philly will look to make some trades to better their roster and equip themselves a little better for a playoff run, but I do not think Zach LaVine is the player that they need to make that trade for to get them there. I think there's going to be other players on the market that fit in better and that will equip them better than Zach LaVine will going to that team. In fact, I think DeMar DeRozan actually fits better with the Philadelphia 76ers than LaVine does. So if I'm Philly, I'm waiting to see if that trade's available. I'd rather trade for DeRozan than I would LaVine. Team I actually think will be a pretty good fit if it happens, Los Angeles Lakers. I think Chicago is going to have a big asking price for LaVine towards the Lakers. Probably have to give up Rui Hachimura, first-round draft pick. The Lakers are going to give D'Lo and maybe Vincent, but I think Hachimura is going to be someone that the Bulls are really going to try and target in on. May have to give him up to get LaVine. The other team I think who would be a good fit and should be in play for LaVine is the Indiana Pacers. The Pacers could find a package that works, maybe centered around Buddy Hield, throw in a couple of your young guards or even a TJ McConnell. Bring in LaVine to play alongside Halliburton, maybe be that veteran presence alongside Turner, Mathurin. Just add more firepower to a young team that's already looking pretty good in the East. I'd be surprised at all if DeMar DeRozan and Alex Caruso are the next ones to start being rumored to be on the trading block. I do believe by January, I think both of those guys will be traded. Chicago just goes into full rebuild. They're breaking up with everybody. We'll move on to a team that wishes they could take back the trade they just made. The Los Angeles Clippers, 0-5 since their trade for James Harden. Yeah, raise your hand if you saw this one coming. I had mentioned in other videos before the trade actually happened that I did not think James Harden fit well with the Los Angeles Clippers and that the Clippers should not do the trade. And now it's looking like it's playing out that way. Clippers offense when James Harden is on the floor is ranked near the bottom of the NBA. Before James Harden, the Clippers had an offense that was more up and down, got up and down the floor a lot faster. Harden has slowed things down. The pace of their offense is much slower, which does not play well for players like PG and Russell Westbrook, whose numbers have all gone down. And the other big thing we're seeing is that the Clippers are having to go small. We saw them in the fourth quarter against the Denver Nuggets get eaten alive by Jokic and Aaron Gordon in the paint. One of the reasons why is that James Harden relies on his pick and roll offense. Problem is Zubac is not great in the pick and roll. Put Zubac in the pick and roll with Harden, they're forcing Harden off the ball, giving it to Zubac. Zubac is really not a playmaker in that position. Coach Tyronn Lue recognizes this, which is why he doesn't put Zubac out there at the end of games because they're going to force the offense through him. Keeping Zubac on the bench at the end of games means there's nobody to guard players like Jokic, AD. Big guys are just getting layups and killing the Clippers. The Clippers traded away their other big men in this trade for Harden. Really, you have no other option. Either you keep Zubac in the game, but that he'll be an offensive liability in the end of games, or take Zubac out, put your best offensive players in there, but no, you're really not going to have anybody for the big men to guard the big guys on the other side. So it's a mess. I mean, I actually feel bad for Coach Lue. Before this trade was made, it looked like the Clippers actually had things working. Russell Westbrook had found a nice role playing alongside Kawhi and PG. PG was putting up some good numbers. Kawhi was getting healthy, playing some good basketball. It looked like they had things figured out and that their team could go forward as is and still be a contender. Now the Clippers are out here looking like they wish they can have a redo button. And of course, last but not least, we saw the Warriors' Draymond Green take his team role of the lockdown defender a little bit too literally. In what has been basically his only highlight this season, Draymond put Rudy Gobert in about a 10-second headlock and proceeded to drag him halfway down the court. For what he did, the NBA has suspended Draymond 5 games. It was rumored that Draymond's suspension was originally only going to be 3 games, but when Draymond heard that Steph was still going to miss another 5 games, he asked the NBA to just add on the extra 2 games because he said, look, I'm probably going to get ejected from these next 2 games anyways, so just do the work for me. Just save me the hard work. Thanks.